Again, the Gemara today and I've paid Dalet Amud Beis, where it says Kayanim Uleviyim. Going back to the Mishnah spoke about a person that made a neder, and he said, so there's two kinds of Nedarim that the Mishnah spoke about. First, the Mishnah said a person made a neder, no Kayanim or Leviyim can have any anah from me. So now, think there's a problem here. He has produce, he has to give Truma and Maisa, which belong to the Kayanim and Leviyim. So can they take the Trumas and Maisas from him? So the Mishnah says, yeah, Yitla Karcha. They're taken against his will. Then the Mishnah said, but if he said Kayanim Elu, Levim Elu Nanamli, if he said specific Kayanim and Levim cannot have anah from me, so then those Kayanim and Levim cannot take that Trumas and Maisras. So who takes it? Other Kayanim and Levim that are not part of his neder. So the Gemara here will point out that these two halachas of the Mishnah seem to be a contradiction. What's the difference if he says all Kayanim or if he says these Kayanim? So here, let's see. Talk to Gemara. The Mishnah said Kayanim Levim Nanali Yitluchulu. So what do we see from the Reisha of the Mishnah? When it says that even though you made a neder, nevertheless those Kayanim Levim could still come and take their Trumas and Maises. Alma, what I see from this is Toivas Hana Eina Mammon. The Toivas Hana, meaning the benefit that you have to choose which Kayin to give the Trumas and Maises to, has no monetary value. We had this point yesterday. This idea of Toivas Hana Eina Mammon means the actual Trumas and Maises you don't own. Who does it belong to? To the Kayin and the Levim. It's not yours. What level of ownership do you have in these Trumas and Maisres? You just have the choice who to give it to. And possibly because you can choose who to give it to, so someone can pay you off, I want you to give a dafka to these Kayanim and Levim, so you can make some money off of it. But that Toivas Anah that you have in this Trumas and Maisres, is that considered to be that you have some kind of monetary ownership in the actual produce itself, that's Trumas and Maisres? So the Gemara says, from the fact that we say that when you made a neder that the Kayanim and Levim can't have a nah from you, they can come and take the Trumas and Maisres. I see that your ownership of Toivas Hanah that you have in this Trumas and Maisres is not considered to be a real ownership. It's ain't a moment. It's not ownership. So therefore they can come and take. Right, this, by the way, this halacha of Toivas Hanah has relevance for other halachas as well. For example, if you have something chametz in your possession, and the chametz is not really yours because it's trumas and maisres, but you only have an ownership of Toivas Hanah on it. You have an ownership that you can choose which kind to give it to. Are you aiva on the issa bal yada bal matzah? Is it your chametz? You only aiva on it if it's yours. Right? So that's also another relevance for this. Or for example, can you use this trumas and maisres? There's a certain Toivas Hanah of it that you have. If you give this trumas and maisres to a isha, you want to be mekadesh her. It should be your money. Mekadesh isha has to be something that belongs to you. Is this Toivas Hanah that you have in it considered to be a monetary ownership in this trumas and maisres or not? So the Gemara says right now in our Mishnah we see that no, it's not. You have no monetary ownership in this, and therefore the Kayanim and Levim can come and take it. It's theirs. It's their Truma and Meiser. That's what we see from the first part of the Mishnah. But then Amos Sefer, what does it say in the next case? Kayanim Elo Levim Elo Nanamli. You make a neder that these Kayanim, these Levim should not have a nor from me. What happens? Yitla Chayrim. So those Kayanim and Levim cannot take these Trumas and Maisres, but others that were not part of the neder should come and take. Avalahani, these Kayanim and Levim, loy, they can't come and take from it. Why not? It's their Trumas and Maisres. Alma, I see the reason why they can't come and take anything here is because Toivas Hanah Mammon. Because even though it's their Trumas and Maisres, but you, the Yisrael that made the neder, also has a shtickle ownership here. He has the ownership of Toivas Hanah. This produce is something he could choose who to give it to. So because he has an ownership in this, the Kayanim and Levim that are taking it are having a nah here from you. So there's a contradiction here in the Mishnah. Okay, but just going back a second, when the Mishnah says that, when the Gemara that is explains that regarding the first part of the Mishnah that says that the Kayanim and Levim could come and take even after you made the neder because you have no ownership in it. The fact that you could choose is meaningless. But still, the Mishnah used the words yitlu, that the Kayanim and Levim come and take. It's mashma from the lashon of the Mishnah that they can come and take, but you can't give it. Even though Toivas Hanah ain't a mama, but you still shouldn't go ahead and give it directly to them. They can come and take it. Right? But okay, so there's machlokes about this. If you say Toivas Hanah ain't a mama, does that mean that you have zero, you're like giving them something that belongs to them? When Yisrael gives a Kayin, Levi, Trumas and Maisres, what are you doing? You're giving him his item, what belongs to him. You could choose who to give it to. That's not considered to be monetary ownership. But others say no, that Enochanami, he's allowed to come and take it, but you can't go ahead directly and give it. Okay, so there's a machlokes about that. Akapana, we have over here a steer in the Mishnah.
Giving is helping him get it.
Okay.
You're giving him a nod.
Yeah, but I'm giving him something that belongs to him, though. If you remember, we once learned before in the Gemara, B'negei an Aveda. If you give someone an Aveda that belongs to him, there's no problem. Even if he's not allowed to have even if he's not allowed to have a nod from you, it's his.
Closer to him.
Huh?
You're bringing
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. By an Aveda over here, I mean the Mishnah uses the word Yitlu, so that's why I'm saying it's sort of mashma that he's not allowed to give it to him. Okay, so the Gemara says that the two.
Eagle gives more. That's not yours. They're taking it. It's theirs.
He's taking what's his.
Yeah, so it's not you
Right.
doing it.
Yeah.
The Aveda was never the one who found it.
Okay, so the Gemara says,
Before,
not so pashut. Okay,
not
Truma.
a budget, but
Okay.
before he took Truma.
Okay, but now you will mafresh the Truma. It's his.
Okay.
Belongs to him. Okay, so
It belongs to a Kayan. Mashenk belongs to him.
Amar Rav Haishi, so the Gemara answers and says, we're going to have to say that the two parts of the Mishnah are taket two opinions. Loikashya, there's no contradiction here in the Mishnah. We'll have to say, Ha Rebbe and V'ha Rabbi Yosef bar Rabbi Yehuda. There's a machlokes here between Rebbe and Rabbi Yosef bar Rabbi Yehuda regarding this subject. Whether, when you have the choice of Toivus Hana, who to give it to, is that a monetary ownership in the item or not? Where do we see this machlokes? The Tanya we learned in Abraham says follows. Hagaynev tivloi shel chaveirei. You go and you steal from your friend the produce that he has before the maasros were taken from it. That's the tevel, right? The untithed produce. So you stole this. So what do you have to pay back? Va'achla, you went and you ate it. So Rabbi says, Mishalem loy demei tivloi. The ganav has to pay everything. You have to pay the value of everything that you stole, including the value of, even though part of it is trumas and maasros, but nevertheless you have to pay the entire thing. Divrei Rabbi. That's what Rabbi says. So again, in the simple pshat over here, Rabbi is saying you have to pay the entire thing. Okay, well, we'll see how the Gemara will explain this. Rabbi Yosef bar Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yosef bar Rabbi Yehuda says, Eina mishalem el dmei cholin shabai. When you steal, because the trumas and maasros weren't separated yet, so you only pay the value of the cholin that's in it. You don't pay the values of the truma and maasros that's in it. That you didn't steal from this person. That belongs to the Kain and the Levi. So the Gemara explains, My la ba'aka miflagi. Don't you think? What's the explanation of this argument between Rabbi and Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda as follows? The Rabbi's opinion is Toivas hana mamin. The chulin for sure belongs to this yid, but not only the chulin belongs to him, even the trumas and maasros, that taka belongs to the kain, but there's a percent of it, or there's a value of it that does belong to the Yisrael. The toivas hana, the fact that the yid could choose who to give it to, that's a monetary value that the Yisrael has. So therefore, what Rebbe is saying is, you're going to have to pay not only the chulin, but even the trumas and maasros, you're going to have to pay the toivas hana of that trumas and maasros. So the way that Ran learns the Gemara is, even though the lashon is that you have to pay mishalom lo demei tivloi, Rebbe didn't mean you mamash have to pay everything. Because in the end of the day, the trumas and maasros belongs to the kain. But what Rebbe is saying is, not only do you have to pay the chulin, but even the trumas and maasros that belong to the kain, there's a value of it. There's the hatoivus hana that you did take away from the Yisrael, and you're going to have to pay the value of the toivus hana from the trumas and maasros. That's what Rebbe is saying. Okay, there are though other rishonim that say that it goes so far that because toivus hana is called mamain, so the whole entire value of trumas and maasros you have to pay back to the Yisrael. But the simple pshat of the Gemara is that you only have to pay back the value of the toivus hana of the trumas and maasros, not the entire value of the trumas and maasros. That for sure doesn't belong to the Yisrael. That belongs to the kain. Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda says, toivus hana in a moment. The fact that the Yisrael has a toivus hana, the value of toivus hana in this trumas and maasros, that's not a monetary value b'chlal. So therefore, the person that stole pays back the chulin value, and the trumas and maasros value pays back nothing of it. So right here we see this machlokes between Rabbi and Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda whether toivus hana is mammon or not. So therefore we could say that that's also the machlokes here in our Mishnah. The beginning of the Mishnah goes like Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda that says toivus hana ain't a mammon, and the next the seif of the Mishnah goes like Rabbi that says toivus hana is mammon. So the same thing applies also when you make a neder. When a person makes a neder that the Kain and the Levi should not have a na from me, could the Kain and Levi get now your trumas and maasros? If toivus hana is mamain, so then they're getting from you that a monetary value. If toivus hana is not mamain, so then when he's getting his trumas and maasros from you, he's not getting any monetary value from you. The trumas and maasros belongs to him, so he's allowed to take it from you.
And I can't give him a ton to Yisrael for giving him.
I don't think this Kain is allowed. This kain is not allowed because you learn out from a pasuk.
How does that work?
Someone else
Tevis
There's two things. First of all, Tevis Hana Mammon means even if theoretically no one's paying you off to give it to this particular kain, but the very fact that you have Hana to choose to give it to a certain kain, that Hana has value. That's a simple pshat of the Gemara. Tevis Hana means just the Hana to choose who to give it to has value. And that's the machlokes. That value of the hana you have, is that considered to be a percent of value in this actual produce or no? It's a hana that you get out of it, but it's not considered to be an actual moment in the produce itself. But it's also true. Rashi does say in other places that toivus hana mum means that someone else could pay you off for this. You could make money off of it, not the kain himself, but someone else could pay you off. I want you to give a dafka to support dafka this kain, so you could actually make money off of it. Okay, but the Gemara says, this is not necessarily the explanation over here regarding this situation of Geneva, when someone stole from you the tevel, which you did not take the trumas and maises from. We can say the kula alme toivus hana ein a mammon. Everybody agrees that the toivus hana that Yisrael has in this trumas and maises has no monetary value. So what is the argument over here? If this person stole from you this produce that the trumas and maises was not taken from it yet, so what's the machlekes if he has to pay you back for that value as well? Elahach over here, the machlokes is when you have these matanos, these gifts that belong to the kain, and you did not even separate it in the produce yet. It grew, it's there in your property. You never separated b'chlal the trumas and maasros. So the machlokes is whether before you separated it, do I say that because in the future you're gonna separate it, so therefore we consider it already now as if it was already separated. So therefore now when this ganav comes and steals. So what did he steal? So the Gemara doesn't spell out the machlokes, but the machlokes basically is Rebbe says even though you didn't separate it yet, but because you're gonna separate those trumas and maasros, so therefore the chulin that he stole, he has to pay you back. The trumas and maasros that are going to be separated, that he didn't steal from you, that belongs to the kain. Hashem Ken Rabbi Yossi bar Rabbi Yehuda says because you didn't separate the trumas and maasros yet, right now he's stealing from you chulin. It's all chulin, so therefore he has to pay you back the whole thing. That's what the machlokes is about. Nothing to do with toivus hana. Everybody holds toivus hana is not mammon. But the Gemara asks on this pshat, doesn't make sense. If you're telling me that everybody agrees that the toivus hana of this trumas and maises is not money at all, so if so, mali hormo, mali loy hormo. What difference does it make if you already actually separated the trumas and maises or was not actually separated yet? The fact is you have to separate it. You're going to have to separate it in the future. So this ganav that stole from you, did he steal from you the value of those trumas and maasros? No. You're eventually going to have to separate it, and that doesn't belong to you. Why is he paying it back to you? Even though the fact is right now wasn't separated, so he stole from you what's now fully chulin. But did he cause you a loss by the fact that he took even that part that's going to have to be separated as trumas and maasros? No. So if you're telling me that the toivus hana is not considered to be mammon, and this trumas and maasros belongs to the kain eventually, so then why would Rabbi say that he has to pay you back any value of that trumas and maasros? So therefore the Gemara doesn't accept this pshat. But the Gemara says we don't have to say that they're arguing about toivus hana, whether it is mammon or not mammon, but ella, rather the machlokes here is as follows. Hainu taima de Rabbi, this is the reason why. Rabbi says that the ganav has to pay back, and now the way that Ran explains the Gemara, what the Gemara is saying over here is, even if you're going to tell me toivus hana is not mammon, so the Yisrael has no ownership in this trumas and maasros at all. So why is the ganav paying you back the value of the trumas and maasros that's here in this produce? The reason is, Elahaina time of the Rebbe, Konsua Rabbanon Leganav. It's takanat that he has to pay this back minatayra. It's a knas, it's a penalty. The Rabbanon gave a knas to the Ganav, Kehechet loy lignov, so he shouldn't steal. If he steals produce that's worth $100 and he only has to pay back $75, why? Because there's trumas and maasros in it, so he steals and he pays back less than what he stole. So therefore they want the Ganav to pay back fully the value that he actually stole to this Yisrael. So it's a knas. So we can say Rabbi holds toivus hana ein a mammon. But still, it's a knas that he pays back the full value. Now, Gemara says, Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Yehuda Sava. On the other hand, Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Yehuda, he says that the ganav does not pay back that value. Why not? And here the Ran says, what the Gemara is trying to say is that Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Yehuda, even if Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Yehuda holds, toivus hana is mammon. So when he's stealing from you, he's not only stealing the chulin, but even the trumas and maisris, he's also stealing from you. That at least that monetary value of tevis hana. So why does Rabbi Yosef Bar Yehuda say that the ganav does not pay back to the Yisrael that value of the tevis hana that he stole from you? The reason is the other way around, because he holds konsua rabbana lebalabayis. This is actually a penalty for the Yisrael, for this owner here. In order that the Yisrael, when he separates his trumas and maasros, he should immediately give the trumas and maasros to the kayin. What's the trumas and maasros doing in your possession? Your mitzvah is to give it to the kayin. By you leaving it in your possession, what happened? A ganav came and stole it. So in order for the Yisrael not to ever keep it again in his possession, Chachamim made a knas that when you're going to get paid back for this, you're going to lose the value of your tevis hana that you have in this trumas and maasros. So adarab, it's a knas for the Yisrael not to ever leave trumas and maasros sitting around in his possession.
Now that it was stolen from him, he's not mechuyev to give trumas and maasros.
Who the
Yisrael.
No, he doesn't have to give it again.
When the Ganav gives him back just the Demei Chulin Shaboy, now he has Chulin, he has to give Trumas and Maasros from that Chulin. So
I don't think so. I mean, l'chayra not. He already separated the Trumas and Maasros. That Trumas and Maasros, the Ganav ate. I mean, the emes is that.
It wasn't separated yet.
But that's before the Gemara said loy hormo, but now the Gemara slugged that up. L'chayra, the Gemara is going back. It was already separated, yeah? The Trumas and Maasros was already separated. But now the question is, did this Ganav steal from you or did he steal from the Kayin? So the Gemara is saying, either way you look at it, whether he stole from you, whether he stole from the Kayin, Rabbi says we want to give a knas dafka to the Ganav, that he should pay the full amount that he stole. And Rabbi Yosef Bar Yehuda says, no, we dafka want to give a knas to the Balabas, to the Yisrael, in order for him never to leave Trumas and Maasros sitting around. So it's a machlekes who's...
The Ganav should have to pay to the Kayin.
Maybe and a Chanami, but who's he going to pay to though? There's nobody... But the problem is, there's no a Ganav only has to pay if there's someone that's Teveya from him. Over here, it belongs to the whole Shevet. There's nobody, there's nobody that he's going to have to end up paying it to. Yeah. If you steal and you don't know, over here, even in a case where you stole from 5 people and you don't know who you to pay to, so there's a Gemara about that, you have to give to all 5 people. Over here, it belongs to the Shevet. It belongs to the Shevet of the Kayin of the Leviim. Who does he give it to? I don't think there's such a thing. If I'm not mistaken, the Ganav will not be able to pay it back to the Kayin. There's nobody demanding it from him.
No, but
okay.
In the case where Shlai Hormuz, then he will be made.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what the Gemara said before. We're not talking about Loi Hormo over here. Yeah. Okay, but now coming back to the Mishnah though, don't forget we had over here a contradiction in the Mishnah. When a person makes a neder, whether the Kainim and Levim can come and take from the Trumas and Maasros. So the first part of the Mishnah says, yeah, they can come and take Bal Karcha, it belongs to them. Second part of the Mishnah said that if you say that you're making a neder from these Kainim and Levim, then they can't come take. Other Kainim and Levim that were not part of the neder can come and take. So there's a stira here. So the Gemara gives an answer. The difference is, take a look in the case itself, you see the difference. It's a big difference if you're saying this Kain and Levim shouldn't take from me, or no Kain and Levim should take to me. So Rava says, Shani Trumeh. The case of Trumeh in our Mishnah is different. Okay, so the Gemara doesn't spell out fully, but the point that the Gemara is going to say over here is that when you make a neder, that this Kain and Levi shouldn't take from me, so really our Mishnah holds that Tevis Hana is mami. And therefore, those Kain and Levim cannot take from you because they're taking a certain monetary value from you, and they're not allowed to have enough from you. Now, another Kain and Levi can take. Why does it say in the Reisha of the Mishnah that if you say that no Kain and Levi should be able to come and take from me, that now they can come and take even against your will, and it's not a problem? So that's what the Gemara explains over here. That in such a case, when you said no Kain and Levi can come and take from me, that's different. This is the reason why they can come and take it even against your will. Mishom the truma lechazia elo lekainim. Who does this truma belong to? It belongs to the kainim. The Yisrael can't do anything with this truma. What does the Yisrael have of the truma? Like the Gemara is saying a whole time here, just the tevis hana. You could choose who to give it to. You can't keep it. It belongs to the kainim. It's theirs. Now, v'kivin the ka'asi lemeisra alayu. So what is this person coming and saying when he makes this neder? Essentially, what this person is doing is he can't make a neder and say that the Kayin and Levi can't have a nor for me, and therefore I'm taking away from the Kayin and Levi this Trumas HaMaasros. I can't make a neder and take away the Trumas HaMaasros that belongs to the Kayin. It belongs to the Kayin. What is his neder accomplishing? His neder is accomplishing that it's taking away his right that he has to give it to the Kayin. This that I'm saying, that usually Usually a person has a right to give his Trumas HaMaisis and the Kain. That's the value that I have in this Trumas HaMaisis. By me now making a neder and saying that this Kain can't have a nor from me, I just asserted on myself this right to give it to the Kain and the Levi. That's what you basically did. So if so, what happens? So Shavya Afra Ba'alma. So therefore, you just turned it into Afra Ba'alma, meaning that now you have no value in it anymore. Afra Ba'alma is something that has no value, right? Just a piece of earth, a piece of sand, right? So the very value that you had, which is the Taivas Hana, to choose which kind to give it to, you just asked yourself that Hana, to choose which kind to give. You can't give it. So the very neder itself took away your Taivas Hana. So therefore, what happens with this Trumas HaMaisros? Let the Kohen come and take it, because it belongs to him. The neder doesn't affect that. So therefore the Mishnah says, let him come and take it. That's the pshat of the Mishnah here. No, if you're saying this Kohen, so then I never took away my right to choose which Kohen to give to. Adarabah, by me making the neder, I'm just expressing my right to choose who I want to give it to. I'm making this neder, showing you that I'm not interested in giving it to this Kohen. I'm going to choose to give it to a different Kohen. I know that this Kohen is going to come harass me, that I should give it to him, and I don't want him to harass me to give it to him. So I make a neder, I'm not giving it to you. And therefore, I'm going to choose to give it to other Kohanim. So I never took away my right to give it to another Kohen. So you choose to give it to whichever Kohen you want. And you still have a value there in this. So this Kohen that you made a neder can't take it from you. But if you make a neder not to give it to any Kohen, so now your whole right of giving is not there anymore. It's off Obama. You don't have that value, B'chlal. So let the Kohen come and take what belongs to him. That's the pshat. The wife, going back to the wife that makes a neder. She makes a neder that the work, my income, so I don't want your father to have anah from this income. Or vapi avicha, I don't want, again, pi abba means my father, that she's saying that I want my father to have any anah from this income. Or vapi avicha, her neder is that your father, her husband's father, should not have anah from this income. Vapi achi, my brother shouldn't have anah from my income. Vapi achicha, your brother. All these kinds of nedarim, any yachal lahafer. The husband can't nullify these nedarim. It's not a neder which is inu nefesh for her. There's no affliction for her, and there's also it's not dvarim should be neilu bina. It's not anything that's between him and her. But what's the for neder was she'eni yaisa al picha. Her neder is that my income you should not, the husband should not be able to have anah from this. So the Tanakama says, Ein tzarich lafa. This is a neder that actually never takes effect. He doesn't have to nullify this. Why? Because this is one of the conditions that Chazal made in marriage, that she's obligated to give her income to her husband. She can't come and make a neder to stop that obligation. So it never takes effect. Rabbi Kiva says, no, you do have to nullify this neder. Why? Shema tadif olav yesim v'naroilai. Because there's only a certain set amount that she's obligated to work the income that goes to the husband. We learned about this in Masechta Ksubis. There's a certain amount, but more than that amount doesn't have to go to the husband. So therefore, what's if she has more income? So then the husband will not be able to have an off from it. So this is a davar b'nei lebina, that he now can't have enough from this extra income from his wife. So therefore, he could nullify the neder if he wants. Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri also says that the husband could nullify the neder, but for a different reason. Yafer, the husband should nullify this neder because Shema Yegarshena. What happens if he divorces his wife? And now, and now, after he divorces her, this whole condition that a wife has to give the income to the husband is when she's married to him. What happens if he divorces her? So now that condition doesn't apply. So now that neder will take effect. So therefore, it is a davar shebeinai lebeina. What happens if he wants to remarry her? And now he's going to live with her again, and he's going to live with her, and he can't have anah from her income because once he divorced her, the neder took effect. So therefore, he's not going to be able to have anah from her. So therefore, Rabbi Yochanan says, because of the future, so therefore, he should be made for, if he wants, he should be made for the neder right now. Amar Shmuel, Zakta Gemara, Shmuel said, Halach Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri. We paskin like Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri that says that you should nullify this neder because it could take effect in the future. Says the Gemara, and here we go into a long sugya. We'll start it today, and it goes through the whole Peivav, or a big part of Peivav. We had Kamat, the same Gemara in Masechta Ksubis that discussed this inyan. So the Gemara says, "Lememre de kasav Shmuel." Shall I say that if Shmuel is pascaling like Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri, that means that Shmuel would hold Adam Makdish Davar Shalei Balaylam. A person could be Makdish something that does not exist in the world yet. What is this person doing over here? Or this woman rather. This woman is making a neder that her income should become usher. Her income of today cannot become usher to her husband. She's married. Her income that she's going to make in the future, the money she'll earn in the future, will then become usher to the husband. And what's Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri saying? that income of the future, the neder will be chal on that, and therefore now you should nullify it. So this whole thing is not ba'olam b'chlal. So how is this neder taking effect? So if the neder here takes effect, I should say the same thing regarding being makdish, something that it also takes effect even if it's not in the world. But Amini, so the Gemara says, I'll ask you a question on this, because it says in the Mishnah, Hamakdish ma'isi yedei ishtoi, a person goes ahead and he's makdish the income of his wife. Harezu oisa vaycheles, she can go ahead and eat and use this income that belongs to her, and the hektish that the husband was makdish this does not take effect. Okay, so this is, everybody agrees to this, and the point over here is that a wife could always say that whatever income really belongs to my husband, she can choose to say that you don't feed me and my income will not go to you. The idea that the income of a wife goes to the husband is an exchange for the fact that the husband supports her. But what if she says, I want to keep it for myself? So she can keep it for herself. So over here, the husband went and was makdish her income. That income doesn't exist yet. She can come and say that this income I want to keep for myself. Now, v'hamaisar, when it comes to the extra income, more than what she's obligated to give to the husband. So, if the husband wants to be makdish this, will that hektish take effect? So, Rab Meir says, hektish. Rab Meir says, yes, it will take effect. Why? Why does this hektish take effect? Because even though he can't be makdish it now, but what happens after she passes away? After she passes away, the husband inherits all of her money and all of the value of her income. So therefore, because the husband in the future will get this, so therefore, now, when he's makdish, this extra income of his wife, the hektish will take effect. So it's hektish. So again, but it doesn't take effect now though. The hektish takes effect after she passes away. Okay, so over here you see that Meir says that even though now it's not even in existence yet, it's not something that belongs to the husband to be makdish, but he could be makdish it now and it'll take effect after she passes away. But Rabbi Yechanan, no, you can't do that. Chulin, how can you be makdish today something that doesn't belong to you, b'chlal? Because one day she's going to pass away and then it's going to belong to you, and then it's going to take effect. It doesn't work. So therefore it's chulin. You can't be makdish something that's not in the world yet. It's not yours yet, b'chlal. Shmuel, and on this Shmuel said, Halacha Rabbi Yechanan Asandler, that we pass like Rabbi Yechanan Asandler that the hektish does not take effect. She didn't die yet, so it belongs to her. So how could it be makdish? So Alma, what do I see from this? That Shmuel is telling you, that a person cannot be makdish something that's not here in the world yet. So we have a contradiction. When it comes to the neder, Shmuel is paskening like Rabbi Yechanan ben Nuri that said that you should nullify the neder because in the future the neder will take effect. Even though now the income here, the neder cannot take effect. But after he divorces her, then it'll take effect. And now Shmuel's passing Rabbi Yechanan Asandler that because in the future the money will be yours, you'll yashin it then. He says, no, it doesn't take effect now. So the Gemara says, if you'll argue and say as follows, that Kika Ama Halach Rabbi Yechanan ben Nuri, when Shmuel said that the halacha is like Rabbi Yechanan ben Nuri, he did not mean the halacha is like Rabbi Yechanan ben Nuri regarding this detail that the neder will take effect later. But rather what he meant to say is al hadofahu de ka'amar. He only meant to say regarding this point of hadofa, meaning Rabbi Yechanan ben Nuri in our Mishnah argued on Rabbi Akiva regarding 2 points. One point he argued on Rabbi Akiva is, Rabbi Akiva says when a wife makes a neder that the husband should not be able to have a nar from the income, the reason why the husband has to nullify this neder is because even the extra income belongs to the husband. So it's going on you have to, again, no. The extra income does not belong to the husband, that is. But the extra income, that's where the neder will take effect. Right? The regular income that belongs to the husband, over there her neder does not take effect. The extra income that does not belong to the husband, that belongs to her. So on that she could say, my husband should not have a no. So the first point that Rabbi Yechanan ben Nuri is coming to argue is, no, that even the extra income belongs to the husband as well, and therefore the neder will not take effect. So therefore Rabbi Yechanan ben Nuri had to find a different reason to explain why the husband has to nullify the neder. The only reason he has to nullify it is because after she'll be divorced, then the neder will take effect. So what the Gemara is saying now is, maybe we could say that when Shmuel paskened Rabbi Yechanan ben Nuri, he was only paskening like Rabbi Yechanan ben Nuri regarding the first point, that he was arguing on Rabbi Akiva's reason, al adafu de kama, that he disagrees to Rabbi Akiva's reason. But the Gemara says that can't be. That's not what Shmuel said, because if so, Shmuel would have used a different language. Either Leime, let him say halacha Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri behadofa. Let him clearly say the halacha is like Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri regarding the extra income, not like Rabbi Akiva that said that the extra income belongs to her, but the extra income belongs to the husband as well. So therefore, that's not a reason why he has to nullify the neder. Inami. Or the Gemara says, he should have said halacha ketanakama. He should have said halacha is like the Tanakama. Tanakama also said that the extra income does not belong to the husband. So why is he saying the halacha specifically like Rebrechem ben Nuri? Inami, or the Gemara said, he should have said, ein halacha ke Rabbi Akiva. You should have said that the halacha is not like Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva says the extra income belongs to her. He should have said the halacha is not like Rabbi Akiva. Why is he saying the halacha is like Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri? So the point is we have a contradiction here in Shmuel's opinion. Regarding a neder, we see that the neder takes effect even for something that's not here in the world yet. It takes effect on the income that you will have after he divorces her. And regarding hektish, he cannot be makdir something that's not here in the world yet. So Rav Yosef answers, Shani koinamais. Over here, by a neder, it's different. Hoyel, because by a neder, I find that the power of a neder is regarding something that you don't even own. What is that? You can make a neder and say that I will not have of any fruits that my friend owns. It's not your fruits, but you can still make a neder for yourself that I will not have enough from those peiros. So just like we see that you can ask something that doesn't belong to you, this is something that is only by a neder, by hektish. You can't be makdish something that doesn't belong to you. But by a neder, you can ask a peiros that doesn't belong to you. So therefore, over here as well, I say that you can ask something that doesn't exist in the world yet, and you can ask this on yourself. That's only by a neder, but by hektish, I don't say such a thing. So Abaye asked Rav Yosef, no, this is not a good answer. Why? The idea that you can ask peiros that belong to your friend on yourself, the reason for this is, even though those peiros don't belong to you, but you're asking those peiros on yourself. You are yourself. You have power on yourself to ask yourself of anything. So therefore, you can ask it on yourself. And he says, I'll give you an example in the reverse. Shaharei adam oiser peirosav al chaveiroi. You can ask your peiros on your friend. Right? In other words, what he's saying is, what Abaye is saying is, you have to have control on something here. Either the point is you have control over yourself, and therefore you can ask anything in the world on yourself, even if it doesn't belong to you. Or if you want to ask something on your friend, so you have to own what you're asking on your friend. But there's some aspect of this neder that you have control over it, and therefore the neder will work. Okay, but to say yes, to say that you have a power to ask something that's not even in the world yet. So you don't have any ownership over it at all. Al chaveira, and you're asking that on who? On your friend. So how could you ask that? It's impossible. I can't come and make a neder that the fruits that are owned by my friend should be asked to my friend. You have no control over anything over here. So what's the question of Abaye? That's basically what's happening over here in the Mishnah. She's making a neder, and the neder is taking effect on what? It's taking effect on her income that's not in the world yet, Bachlal, because it's only after she gets divorced. And on who is she making it usher? On the husband. And that's also something that's not in the world yet. At this point, it's owned to the husband. It's owned by the husband. Now, it's going to change later, that later she's going to have the power to usher it on her husband, and later those peiros will belong to her. So these are two things that right now she has no control over, Bachlal. So how could this neder take effect now? So Elam Ravone, so therefore Ravone says, Breder Rav Yeshua that is, Ravone Breder Rav Yeshua says a different shot over here, but Oimeres Yikdushu Yodai Lo Oiseyem. What she's saying is, not that I'm asking the income, but I'm asking my hands that produce the income. The Yadayim Ha'isnu Bailam. The hands are here in the world. That's what she's asking. So even though the husband is not in her power to aser right now, because right now her husband gets income from her, whatever it is, and the yadayim goes to the husband, but only the income after Gedushin doesn't belong to the husband, but the yadayim are here in the world, so she has a power over her hands, and that's what the neder is chalan. Okay, we'll stop over here. This continues over here, the whole discussion.